I want to say hello to everybody and all that good stuff. And I hope that you are having a good day. This morning, I had an interesting day. I actually got up and went to run. I ran a 5K, and that's kind of those races kind of wear me out. But I'm glad I do it. Hey, what's going on, Dirk Diggler? And in my zone, what's up? How are you? Let me see. I'm trying to see who else is hopping into the live stream. Let's see here. Well, I see Andre Clark. How you doing, Andre? Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Let's see who else is here. Kim Clark, Paris Canty, T Mac, Grip Nasty, Dirt McGirt. That's old dirty bastard, right? Wasn't that his nickname? Level Up, Tony Counts, B Jamal. How are you? Let's see here. Hey, T1 and Edgar and Kamitra. Good evening. Adonica, Silas, Yvette. Damani, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to see everybody in here. So do me a favor as we get started. As you guys know, first of all, this is drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. So if you're not black or intelligent or are trying to be more intelligent, then this might not be the place for you. You might want to get the fuck out. This might not make you happy. This conversation will probably hurt your feelings, maybe embarrass you, make you very, very sad or something like that. So I just want everybody to know that we speak intelligence, because the thing about being black in this country is that you got to play chess. You know, you can't go through life playing checkers. And as you make decisions in your life and you decide what you want to do and how you want to be successful, you got to make decisions that are going to put you in a good place. The people that get ahead when it comes to wealth tend to be those who play chess. Those who play checkers end up struggling. And I'm really going to talk about a story today that just saddens me. It saddens me, when I see somebody at the highest levels that is, just, not making good decisions. And I'm not even going to say it in a way that's going to make anybody upset. Even though, as I warned you guys in advance, there's a good chance I may hurt your feelings. I'm talking about the singer Prince. And the thing about Prince that's really interesting is that Prince, he lived this extraordinary life, where he accomplished all these great things in terms of music. He did a lot of work that will be remembered for a very long time. He's a guy that was at the top of his game. I mean, just top of the game in terms of what he represented to music and entertainment. He got the utmost respect, and he deserved that respect. But one of the things I just really can't understand for the life of me is why he didn't leave a will. Why he chose to leave his family in a bad situation, a bad spot. And what does that mean? What am I referring to? Well, basically, according to most reports, Prince, his estate has literally bled like crazy since he died. His estate has been bleeding nonstop. He's actually spent a total of about $45 million. $45 million. That's a lifetime. That's a life fortune. If you live your life and you build up a $45 million fortune and leave that to your family, then you're winning, right? You have succeeded. You the shit at that point, right? You're at a level that most people never get to. You're in the 1% of the 1%. But one of the things that I think that we got to learn is that you can't take it with you. But just because you take it with you don't mean you got to go give it away to the white man. Because somebody going to get that money. Somebody going to get that money. And the thing is, because, we got a society where when it comes to money, some people play checkers, some people play chess. Well, there were people who were playing chess to get Prince's money. There were people, there are attorneys. I know attorneys. I know attorneys who dream about millionaires who are silly enough to die without a will. They love that. I talked to a lawyer once, and this lawyer, she was a sister. She tells me, I like the black lawyers that tell me the truth. I get a lawyer. When I hire lawyers, you have to hire a lot of lawyers. When you get kind of famous, like you get into lawsuits and legal issues. So the more money, more problems kind of thing, like Diddy used to say. But it's a good problem to have. But I hire lawyers to watch my lawyers, because the thing about lawyers is that they're all trying to pay bills in their estate, or excuse me, in their offices. All these lawyers, many of them are struggling. They know how to smell the money. They are looking for suckers who will donate to their children's college funds. They're looking for a chance to take advantage of the fact that people get caught slipping. When Gloria Allred was coming after Bill Cosby because he had these accusations against him, I don't know if Gloria Allred believed or did not believe that Bill Cosby had done any of those things. But what I do know is that the first thing that Gloria Allred did when she made the announcement that she was getting involved in the case, and she brought plenty of white women's tears with her. You know, white women's tears, in case you didn't know, white women's tears are gold. White women's tears are worth lots of money. You can sell them at the market and become very rich very quickly. So she brought white women's tears with her, and what she did was she laid out all the white women's tears, and first thing she said is, we want Mr. Cosby to create a fund for $100 million for all of his victims. She didn't say, we're doing an investigation. We're trying to make sure this is true, because my God, it would be devastating if it wasn't true. And we continue the long held tradition of falsely accusing black men of things they did not do. She didn't do all that. She said, we want him to create a fund. We need him to write a check because we caught you slipping, and we need you to write a check to make this go away. Well, why is that? Well, because lawyers smell money the way a dog smells a cheeseburger. Lawyers don't sue everybody. Lawyers don't try to sue everybody because they don't want to sue people that ain't got no money. Lawyers sue people that can pay the lawsuits. They're waiting for you to get caught slipping so they can get a piece of your income. So with this lawyer that I was telling you guys about, she's a black woman, so she told me the truth. Well, this particular black woman did. Not that every black woman or every black person is telling the truth all the time, but this black woman was giving me the lowdown, and she said, Dr. Boyce, she said, I know people who keep their entire law firms functioning off of the money that they make from people who don't write wills. She said, I know people who wouldn't have an office going right now if it wasn't for the fact that so many people die without a will. And the lawyers are literally eating up half of their assets before they're done, right? Literally. In fact, every time you get caught slipping, every time you have conflict, lawyers are they're like the people that sell weapons in a war, right? The people that sell weapons in a war, they don't care about your cause. They don't care if they're winning or you're winning. They don't care if you're right or they're right. They give zero fucks about any of that. All they care about is that you keep on fighting so they can sell more guns. That's all an arms dealer cares about, is the existence of war. So if you want to fight against the drainage of assets that occurs during a war, then the enemy is not the other person you're fighting with. The enemy of war is war itself. Denzel Washington actually said that in Crimson Tide. So I'm actually stealing his wise words, which were in a Hollywood script. So don't give me credit for being that smart. I don't pretend to be that smart. I just know common motherfucking sense. And I know common sense says that if I'm going to work my whole life fighting against white supremacy, the last thing I'm going to do is build up a fortune of $200 million and give about 30, 40, 50% of that to the white man. That's one thing I do know. I don't know everything. I don't know how to make a great song like Prince. I'm not a musical genius like him. I don't know how to put on a great performance and take off my shirt and make the women just fall out on the floor. I don't know how to do any of that, but I do know that if I do get lucky enough to have $200 million, I know not to leave that to white supremacy. Do me a favor. I jumped into the topic. I want to ask you guys, as you guys know, we always do our city shout out in the beginning of the podcast. So do this really quick. Everybody, on the count of 3, shout out your city, your business, or your dream. Hit the thumbs up button too, please. Please hit the thumbs up button. Your city, your business, or your dream. I want to know where you're from. I want to know what you're working on, what your business is. I also want to know what your dream is, what your goal is. What business do you have in your head that you've already built that's going to become something that's actually real brick and mortar? And hit the thumbs up button while you do that, please. Okay, I see. I'm going to look over here on Facebook first. I see, is that Kanik? I can't pronounce your name. Kanik. I see Mr. Shorter. Mr. Shorter. I'm going to have to call you Mr. Shorter. He's from D.C. I try to pronounce your name, but I hesitate every time because I know I'm going to just massively fuck it up. So my apologies, sir. just chalk it up to me being illiterate. Yvette Lowry, Autumn Arnold from Jacksonville. Yvette's from Jacksonville too. Y'all should meet each other. Dalrec, how are you? William from Detroit. Brenda from Gary, Indiana. I was in Gary today. I kid you not. I was actually also in Englewood, which is on the south side of Chicago. We went down to a domestic violence shelter down there to help out. That's one of the things I'm real passionate about is the domestic violence issue. I'm actually running, believe it or not, I'm running the Chicago Marathon to raise money for domestic violence. So I'm letting you guys know in advance because I need my homies to step up, people who care about this kind of thing, to in which everybody should. Everybody should care about domestic violence, and I hope you guys will support the charity. But that's one of the things I want to do later on this year. Let me see. Oh, I see Michael from Minneapolis. Oh, that's where Prince lived. And I'm not being disrespectful to Prince, so I don't want anybody to get their feelings hurt. I just want to make sure that that's clear. That's why a person has to be a student on top of everybody. Otherwise, they will be on the curb real quick. Absolutely, George. Hey, Emily, he was too strong, too smart to have a will. He was too smart to have a will. Someone knows about it, but the benefit is probably better for them if they play stupid. Oh, well, that's a possibility. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, I think, honestly, I think black people, we kind of have to sort of be careful about this interesting habit we have of forming a conspiracy theory to explain away every dumb thing that a black person does. You know, again, I'm not dissing. I'm not saying that the conspiracies aren't true. We know conspiracies are real. That's the reason why I'm not going to say that there's no place for conspiracy theories, because we know that all throughout history there's all kinds of proof that people have conspired against black people since slavery, right? We know this, right? Slavery was the ultimate conspiracy. It's like, hey, go over here, pick some apples off this tree. Oh, we got you. We're going to throw you on a ship and take you away from your family, whatever, right? So the ultimate conspiracy was slavery and the way it all sort of operated for 250 years. But then, later on, there's slavery, there's the conspiracies that occurred during Jim Crow, Tuskegee experiment, the war on drugs, all those things. But I'm just going to be honest. Maybe I'm going on a limb by even saying this. I think we just need to kind of have to stop, though. Like, we kind of have to stop automatically assuming that when a black person does something that they shouldn't have done or does something that don't make any damn sense, that a white man did it. I understand, because it's easy, right? It's like, the way white people always accuse a black man of a crime. Like, if you're white and you do something horrible to a person, you can go to the police and be like, oh, a black man did it, right? And they'll be like, oh my God, a black man did it. Of course, black men do everything. Black men are terrible. They're the reason for every problem that we've ever had, right? That's fine, but we know that ain't right. We know that ain't true. Well, I think the same thing. It might be true here. I do not believe that Prince wrote a will and told a bunch of people about it. Let me tell you what I did when I did my will. Let me tell you, I announced the shit out of that shit. I announced that shit on video. I announced that on my YouTube channel. Hey y'all, I just worked on my will today. I emailed my brother, I emailed my mother, I emailed my woman, I emailed my assistant, I emailed my accountant, I emailed my lawyer, I emailed my insurance agent. And so if there was a conspiracy to hide the fact that Boyce Watkins has a will somewhere, a lot of people who are very close to me would have to coordinate for that kind of cover up on that magnitude of that level. So I'm not sitting here saying that something didn't happen. Here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't think that there's a chance Michael Jackson could have gotten killed. Michael Jackson was worth a lot of money. There are people who get killed over $50. So why wouldn't somebody get killed over $500 million? I mean, really, come on. Whitney Houston, Prince, they all kind of died the same way. It's all about the drugs and everything else, right? So you never know. All these things can happen. But see, I think at the same time, there has to be a discussion, not about how we can let people keep doing things to us and then complain about it. I think that maybe the discussion might need to shift a little bit to one where we say, how do we protect ourselves? Because we know that they out to get us. We know they coming. How do we put up our defenses? We know they're going to come down and, hey, stay woke, y'all. Stay woke. Stay woke, because they coming, y'all. They got conspiracies. They scheming and scamming. They trying to get our money. If you don't know it, let me just tell you, I need to make this public announcement. If you have money, tell me yes or no. Tell me yes or no. Yes or no if you understand where I'm coming from. Tell me yes or no. If you have money, somebody's probably scheming to get it. If you ever get rich, somebody will come and try. When people started seeing me on TV, and these are relatives and friends, it's not just strangers too. But when people started seeing me on TV and they saw that maybe I wasn't a multi-millionaire, they didn't know exactly what I had. They couldn't exactly count my bank account, but they knew. They was like, okay, he's on TV and he's talking about financial literacy and he's going these places and people are showing him respect all around the world. I bet he got some money. At that point, the conspiracy game kind of went up a little bit, right? When I was broke, wasn't nobody really scheming to get my assets because I didn't have nothing, right? But I get a little bit of something. The conspiracy, the fix is in. Everybody's scheming to get your money at that point. It's just a fact of life. One of the fundamental principles of building wealth that I actually teach to my students in the Black Business School is that once you get the wealth, you got to protect it. If you can't protect it, you're going to lose it. The Game of Thrones, y'all. Life ain't nothing but the Game of Thrones. Anybody else watch the Game of Thrones, or am I the only white person in the room? Am I the only person white enough to watch Game of Thrones? Just so you know, I think you can watch Game of Thrones and not lose your black card. I hope you agree with me, but I love that show. It's a great show. And I'm going to tell you, if you watch Game of Thrones, it's full of nothing but treachery and scamming and scheming and getting somebody else's shit and figuring out how to catch them slipping so you can take them down when they ain't looking, making friends with them so you can really stab them in the back. Like that's life, black people. That is how things work. So, when I got a little bit of money, the schemes were all over the place. Everything from some woman who used to think I was an ugly nerd and suddenly she thinks I'm the most handsome man in the world. All my jokes are suddenly funny to her because she wants to get close so she can get some money. To cousins who ain't called me since slavery. You ain't talked to me since slavery, but you calling me up now acting like we're buddies. And then next thing you know, somehow in the conversation, we just happen to get on the topic of the fact that you need to borrow some money from me, to people trying to sell you things, to people trying to rob you, sue you, take it from you, whatever. So, I mean, if you want to know if I think that there was a conspiracy to get Prince's money, I think absolutely there was a conspiracy. But here's the thing. There's ways you can make it hard for people to steal from you, and there are ways you can make it easy for them to steal from you. A very easy way to make it easy for people to steal from you is to die without a will. If you die without a will, then you've pretty much taken all the people that want to jack you and made it very easy for them to jack you. Congratulations. You're it's like playing a football game and you're running into the other team's end zone. Like, you're handing them the ball every time you get it. So I would just say that what probably disappointed me the most about Prince was that it seems like he just made it so easy. And it would be easier to believe it was a conspiracy if I hadn't seen this happen so many other times. I mean, Aretha died without a will. What is this dying without a will stuff? What is that? Is there something wrong? Like, do people not know that a will matters? Do they not know that they're going to die? Is that what it is? Like somebody told them that they were going to live forever? Is that, I don't know. I just can't. Anyway, we're talking about Prince, the singer Prince, and he died without a will, and he's paid lawyers, estate planning, attorneys and accountants and consultants about $45 million. And please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. And I'm looking here to see more of your city shout out. Those of you on Your Black World, I see you and I appreciate you. Okay, I see Extra Cheese is from Syracuse. I've seen you in here a lot, Extra Cheese. I appreciate you coming by. I really respect you. Let me see. I see New York City and Columbus, Ohio, Seattle. Let's see. David says he has his own real estate investment group. That's really cool. Let me see. Noah's from Los Angeles. And Miss J says, I think it was Prince's strange way of being in control. Oh, I don't really know. I don't really know if you're in control, if you're giving all your money away to white people. I mean, if that was the case, then why didn't he just start donating to white people when he was alive? Because they wanted his money back then. They would have took it back then, but he fought the power. He was a great man. He was a righteous man. He was fighting against white supremacy his whole life. And I just think it's very strange that we don't have a commitment to fight for the things in death that we fought for in life. It's like if you're a man and you believe in taking care of your family, one thing I learned about taking care of your family is that you don't just do it when you're here, you do it when you're not here. So that requires you to commit yourself to having the structure necessary to do the things you got to do to make sure the people that you love are good if you're gone. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to do a little exercise, and I want you to comment on this. Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. If you were to die within the next 2 hours, unexpectedly, to just drop dead, and death does not care. Death gives zero shits about what plans you had and who depends on you, and or that you're taking care of your disabled mother, or that that your son needs you to be there because he's going through emotional. Death just doesn't care. Death doesn't care if you got a meeting next week. Death just doesn't care. Death. Am I making it clear when I just kind of tell you? I'm sorry, I got to say it in my crass way, but I mean, death gives zero fucks about your life. Death does not care what you have going on. So let me ask you this: yes or no? If you were to die in 2 hours, would you be prepared for that death? Would the people that need you be able to get by, and or would they be struggling? Would they have what they need just to bury you? Would they have the money to bury you, or would they be, bumming on GoFundMe, like putting up a GoFundMe page, begging people to pay for your funeral because you did not prepare by buying, $20 a month in life insurance? Like with okay, Edgar says yes, Miss Day, Jay says yes, Tom Michael says yes. Good, I like that. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I think that's really good. And I think that those of you who have to say no, maybe you're saying no to yourselves. Maybe you don't want to publicly admit it, and that's okay. I'm not here to shame you at all. This is not a shaming process. This is not about giving you shame. This is about giving you game. Okay, this is about teaching you to elevate. This is about me telling you how this game works and saying to you, begging you, please, please get some kind of plan for death, because death is coming. Death is on its way to your house right now. For some of you, he's walking quickly. For some of you, he's walking very slowly. But he's gonna get there eventually. He always arrives. He's never failed. He is undefeated. Death has never not came and got somebody. So you will get picked up in the chariot of death at some point, and that's okay. It's not something to be sad about, but it is something to prepare for. Some of you are asking about life insurance. If you want to know where I go with my life insurance, there is a black-owned insurance company that I use. The URL is theblackinsurancenetwork.com. theblackинsurancenetwork.com. Theblackинsurancenetwork.com is run by a lady named Yolanda, who is very nice. And and if you tell her that I sent you, she'll be really nice to you too. And just tell her you're part of the family, you're part of the League of Intelligent Black People, and she'll hook you up and make sure you get what you need. One of the things I do with Yolanda is I talk extensively about my death, not because I'm obsessed with it, not because I think I'm gonna die. I talk about death a lot because death is death can be a glorious time where your impact can be made on autopilot. Like if you plan for your estate properly, then you could be making more money in death than you did in life. You could be setting up your great grandkids. You might not have nothing. I'm talking about the poorest person in this room right now. Literally can go can set up something very basic right now in terms of a trust or whatever it is that will make sure your grandchildren are millionaires or close to it. Maybe they're not millionaires. Maybe they just have $250,000, $300,000-$400,000 in assets. But imagine, I want you to process this for a moment. I want you to try to have some imagination with me real quick. Imagine how differently your life would be if you had a grandparent who left you, $250,000 in liquid assets. Let's say that they were struggling, they were poor, and they took what the little bit they had, they bought some insurance, and they also invested a small amount of money in the S&P 500. Warren Buffett tells a story about how he invested, I think it was $144 in 1942, $144, which I think would be back then it would barely be enough to buy a raggedy car. It would barely be enough to buy a raggedy car. But he put $144 in a stock that tracked the S&P 500, or a group of stocks. And Buffett says that $144 is now worth over $500,000. So if you'd had a grandparent that just had just sort of the basics on financial literacy and just, maybe said, look, I ain't got much, but I'm going to take the little pennies I have and invest them and let them grow. Just leave the money alone and let it grow. They can literally put you in a position where you could quit your job tomorrow. You could have hundreds of thousands of dollars, or at least maybe it's just 40,000 that you could put down on a house and buy a house. I have a friend whose grandparents left her about $40,000 or $50,000. There was a little life insurance policy they put together, and she used that to buy her first house. So because they had the foresight, in 1975, 1965, to think about what their grandchildren would need in 2005, she was able to take that money and put that down on a house. right? So maybe that's the basics of what you could do is just, make sure you leave your children and grandchildren enough to put money down on a house. Maybe maybe some of y'all can make them millionaires. It's not that hard to do. I've shown you guys equations and formulas, and you guys know what I do. I hope you know what I do. If you don't know, I've been a finance professor for a long time. I was the number one finance student when I was at the University of Kentucky in undergrad. I have a doctorate in finance, which you point to me, another black man who in America who has a PhD in finance and went to a major institution. There's very, very few of us. And so I'm not bragging. What I'm doing is I'm telling you that you can't go through a process like that and not have some unique insights that can give you a head start. So everything that white people know, all the magical things that you feel like white people know that put them ahead of you, those things are not that complicated if you know how to break down the mathematics. And so what I'm telling you is that as a team, as team black people is not winning right now because because of what we've gone through. But team black people can actually move ahead in the race if we are willing in this generation to do some basic things that will give our grandchildren a chance to run across the finish line. So it's like a relay race. We're like the first or second leg of the relay race, and your grandchildren are running the anchor leg. So the faster you run in this generation, the faster that they're going to get across the finish line when they get the baton. So the question you must ask yourself is, am I going to run and give them the baton in a good position, or am I going to give them the baton because where they're in last place because I did not even try. I did not even try because I said, well, you know what, we're so far behind, we can't catch up, so I just give up. Just because you think you can't catch up, that doesn't mean you have to give up. I just think that we give up too easily. I really believe that black people, we're trained to give up very easily. We're also trained to not believe in ourselves. And the only thing that can kill the greatness of a black person is a black person. I don't think white people have the power to kill your greatness. I think you have the power to kill your greatness, and you commit suicide every motherfucking day of the week. Excuse my French. We kill our greatness every single day of the week because we buy into what other people tell us about ourselves instead of believing what we know to be true about who we are and where we come from. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, if you're interested in only financial conversations, some of y'all like to hear me talk about all different kinds of things. So on drboycetv.com, I talk about everything that's on my mind. But if you want to do purely financial stuff, you can actually go to theblackfinancialchannel.com, theblackfinancialchannel.com. That's where I go to do financial analysis. That's where I talk about what stock I just bought this week, or I'll talk about what's going on in the markets. So theblackfinancialchannel.com. Also, don't forget we're on iTunes. So if you want to download my podcast on iTunes, you can go to iTunes and search for my name, and you can find it there. Last but not least, some of you have asked how to advertise on the platform. Feel free, if you're interested, you can go to drboyceadvertising.com. That's drboyceadvertising.com, not Boyce Watkins, just drboyceadvertising.com. Okay, so let's ask this question. Okay, so yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. Answer these questions. I'm gonna ask you some yes or no questions. Do you think that white supremacy would be less difficult to overcome if we as a community committed ourselves to becoming economically intelligent? Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you think that they would still just oppress us no matter what? Or do you think that if we were financially intelligent about what we did with our money, taught each other how to invest, taught our people how to start businesses, do you think that will make a difference in our plight as black people? Yes or no? Yes or no? Everybody answer. Please answer me. Answer me. I need an answer. Yes. Okay. Glenn and David, thank you. Jovan, thank you very much. I appreciate the answer. Okay. Yes or no? See, because the thing is, that's where the conversation has to begin. Like, do you believe that economic intelligence can be an adequate tool or a meaningful or relevant tool in white supremacy? Yes or no? Okay, I see a lot of yeses. Thank you. Now, why is that important? Well, it's very important because if you want to understand what's happening to a community, all you got to do is look at what's happening to a family. And if you want to understand what's happening to a family, all you got to do is look at what's happening to the individual. Why? Well, because the family is nothing more than a collection of individuals, and a community is nothing more than a collection of families. So if you want to look at the black community and you say, my gosh, this is so confusing. Why has the black community suffered so much? Why has the black community struggled in such an alarming way? Well, if you want to understand why the black community has struggled, why the black community suffers, all you got to do is look at the black family. The black family has been dismantled. It's been ripped apart. It's been torn to shreds, shred to pieces. The black man was already weak in the knees collectively because of what we've gone through with at the hands of the white man. But then mass incarceration came along, drugs came along, and all these things sort of made things even worse than what they are. So as a result, you have a lot of families where there are young children, young women especially, who grow up feeling that they can't depend on black men because black men were kind of hit with that storm of white supremacy, that storm of systematic conspiratorial efforts to keep the black man down, because they knew that was the key to destroying the family. Okay, now, given that we have agreed, I hope, that economic intelligence is one of the most important tools to combat white supremacy, then the next thing I want to ask you is this. If you think about what you do on a daily basis, what you say publicly on your social media, how you conduct your life, would that change for you if you were able to quit your job tomorrow? If you were financially free and able to do whatever you wanted, you had enough money, not so much to where you're rich, but to the point where you don't have to go to work every day, would you change what you do every day? Would you have different conversations? Would you, would you say different things in public? Would you do different things when you woke up in the morning? Now, some of you may love your job so much that you would still do your job even if it were free, right? So I see Rose says no, but Michael says yes, right? Some of you may be in that position. I'm happy for you. But what I notice is that a lot of us as black people, we change our behavior because we are afraid of white people. And why are we afraid of white people? Well, we're afraid of white people because they pay our bills, right? There's no bolder black man or black woman that I have seen than a person who has figured out how to pay their own bills without the help of white people. When a black person is free from the economic constraints of white supremacy and they don't have to go work for white folks and beg white folks, they become a different kind of person. They have a different kind of swag. They have a different kind of energy. There are things that other people are afraid to say that they're not afraid to say. One example might be Louis Farrakhan. Louis Farrakhan, in the Nation of Islam, they're kind of off the grid. They're not trying to get jobs at Applebee's and Xerox. They're not trying to go and get white folks to take care of them. Farrakhan, when he wants to give a speech, he doesn't have to go hope that some white university invites him in and pays him a speaking fee. If Farrakhan wants to get a message to the people, he doesn't have to go beg CNN or ABC News to let him come on the air. He doesn't have to do any of that. And you notice that because of that, he's able to do things that are different from other people. He's able to move different. And I dare say even myself, in my own life, when I lost my dependence on my oppressor to provide for my family, it made it very easy for me to do things that other people consider to be incredibly brave. I get all the time, I have people say, "Oh, Doc, how did you say that? You're not scared to say that?" And I'm like, scared of what? What am I afraid? Am I afraid I'm going to lose my job? Oh, that's right. I don't have a job. I don't work for anybody. Am I afraid I'm going to lose my endorsement deal? Oh, I forgot. I don't need an endorsement deal because I know how to create businesses and I have tons of business partnerships that keep revenue streams flowing. So there's no one white person that can just shut me down by getting me fired from my job at CNN. You understand? And this does not happen by coincidence. This happens by design. This happens just so the same way white America, or I'm not talking about all white people. So if you're white, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just breaking it down for you. But so the same way they were conspiring to control me as a black man, I was conspiring to gain control of my life and to gain control of what was mine. And then on top of conspiring to gain to control what was mine, I actually was like, how do I get control of what is yours? How do I go and figure out how to get to get ahead of him and take over the game? Not just, because the thing is, black people, we always in defense mode. We always worried about how we're going to stop white people from taking what we got, or how we're going to stop them from kicking us in the ass. I think actually we should be in the offense mode, where other people are sitting around worried that because we're so well prepared, because we're so sharp and keen and on point, that we're going to come and take what they got too. Right? I think I'm serious. Defense, you can't win championships with defense. Defense must be played to win championships, but you need offense. You need to score some points too. Black people don't spend a lot of time thinking about how to score points. We don't even spend our time stopping the other team from scoring points. We spend a lot of our energy complaining because the other team scores so many points against us and there's nothing we can do about it. Why do you do that in a competitive economic system? You do that because you've been trained to do that. You've been trained to whine more than you've been trained to plan. You've been trained to be afraid more than you've been trained to be brave. you've been trained to be reactionary more than you've been trained to be proactionary. Right? You've been trained to whine and cry and fumble, just fumble through life more than you've been trained to be strategic, focused, on point, and on top of your shit. So then when things happen like this, where you have a win, you have a chance to get a big win, no disrespect. I'm not dissing Prince here. This ain't no diss to Prince at all. I love his music. I love his music. And I love him as a man. But I don't love this. That's what you got to have honest. I don't love this. I'm reading. Prince had a $200 million fortune. My God, that's a big win for black people. My God, it's like we're a football team and the running back broke through the defensive line and there's not a defender between them and the end zone. They're running down the field to get to the end zone and they throw the ball on the ground. Like that's what that makes me feel. That makes me feel like I feel when I watch a football game and the team finally breaks through the defense and they're about to score, and the player does something crazy that doesn't make any sense. $200 million is a lot of money for anybody. But whatever $200 million means for white people, it means about 10 times more for black people because your wealth levels are probably 1/50th, 1/70th of whites. Maybe it means 50 times more. So Prince having $200 million is like a white person having $10 billion. Right? Did you follow what I'm saying? Yes or no? Yes or no? Tell me if you understand what I'm saying. Tell me if you get what I'm saying here. Yes or no? What I'm saying is that a hell of an opportunity is blown, and the other team is looking at you, and they're confused. They're baffled. They're as baffled as I am. They're like, wow, we're kicking them in the ass. I mean, we're already beating them 147-12, but when they get a chance to score, they throw the ball out of bounds. Like, why would you do that? Like, that doesn't. The white man's like, damn, this white supremacy thing is pretty easy for me to do because I don't have to do any work. I don't have to do anything anymore. I don't have to kill them anymore. They'll kill themselves. That's pretty convenient, right? I don't have to go steal their money. They're handing me the money. They're dying without a will. I mean, seriously, do you know how many lawyers literally salivate over the idea of a man with a $200 million fortune who did not leave a will? They're like, oh, well, we'd be happy to square that away for you. Sure. Oh my gosh, he died without a will. That's so unfortunate. My goodness, that's so terrible. I can get that taken care of I can take care of that for you right away. Just sign here, and my fee is $3,000 an hour, and it's going to take about 3,000 hours of work, but I'm going to get that squared away for you, right? And so Prince, so far, if you want to know the count, if you want to know the specifics, Prince has lost out of $200 million in his fortune. $0 has gone to anybody related to Prince. $0 has gone to his family. Not one nickel has gone to. They can't buy a pack of bubble yum. They can't go to dinner at Red Lobster and order cheddar biscuits because they have gotten $0 from the estate. $45 million has gone to the lawyers and the accountants and the consultants. All these people that are sitting there standing over, his dead economic body, if you will, who are doing the financial autopsies and going through and helping people to argue their way to figure out who gets what. The judge, one of the first things the judge has to do, everybody's will goes into probate. But if you have a will that's ironclad and you got maybe trust in place, then the probate process is quick. It's still gonna cost you money. Everybody's got to pay. But the amount you pay depends on how well you plan, right? So because Prince made no plans, the first thing the judge had to do was go through, I think, about 40 or 50 people that were all claiming to be heirs to Prince's estate. Again, I told you, money attracts a lot of vultures. Money attracts a lot of people that hold on and won't let go. If you're a man and you ever get money, be careful who you date because you're gonna meet some women that don't want you to go anywhere. Same thing with the ladies. Be careful because you're gonna get a lot of men that are gonna tell you what you want to hear so they can get your money. I have a friend like that who's doing really well. She makes about $250,000 a year, and she said now she sometimes meets guys that are struggling and broke, and they want to come and sleep on her couch, and they want to get her credit cards and all. And they do that by telling her everything she wants to hear because they know that she's a sucker for romance. She's a sucker for swag. So she had to learn how to put her defenses up a little bit. So just know, you get some money, it changes things. So with Prince, all the vultures come in and they're all trying to get a piece of the estate. All these people are like, oh yeah, I'm Prince's long lost third cousin on his mama's side, and his aunt Betty Lou gave birth to me back in 1970. Whatever, they're making things up. He had wives, fake wives coming up. $200 million will get you fake relatives and fake spouses. And the judge in the courts and all these people, these researchers and investigators had to go through and spend millions of dollars figuring out who should really get a piece of the estate and who shouldn't. So they narrowed down that 40 to 50 people down to about 6. I think they're like siblings, if I'm not mistaken. So they got 6 people who are going to be heirs to the estate. Well, you would think, okay, cool, we good now. Take that money, chop it by 6. Everybody go in your separate directions. No, don't ain't that simple. It's $200 million, man. It ain't like it's, like you just, trading, sharing up splitting up a pizza. They have predicted actually that Prince's estate is going to be stuck in probate for about a decade. According to Forbes magazine, I was reading an article about it, and some experts have predicted that his estate could be locked up for as long as a decade. Now, if it continues at the current rate of financial bleeding, because remember, $45 million is a lot of money in a $200 million estate. You're talking about, 25%, almost 25% of the total estate. Oh, and don't forget the IRS is always going to get its money. The biggest beneficiary of your estate typically is going to be the IRS. So the IRS done took $31 million. IRS is like, oh, no, you don't, Negro. We want our check first. We want to get paid first. We don't care who's arguing. We don't care what you're doing in court. Send us our $31 million. So Prince had to write a check in death to the IRS for, if I'm not mistaken, $31 million. And another $45 million was going to the lawyers and the accountants and the consultants, who literally are happy now because they can send their children to college on the money from Prince's estate. So, I think it's unfortunate when you have a man like Prince who lived the life that he lived and being as great as he was, where the biggest beneficiary of his estate is the goddamn lawyers. Those are the biggest beneficiaries of all the wealth that he accumulated. Now, he might not have cared nothing about the money, but if he really didn't care nothing about the money, he would have turned the money down in life. He would have gave it all away during his life. He didn't give his money away. Prince, I'm sure if you said, hey, Prince, I want you to come perform, or hey, Prince, I want you to do an album for me, I'm sure Prince would have been like, yeah, well, this is not going to be free, right? But what's the point in doing all of that if you're going to give all that money away? So this whole idea like, oh, he's a Jehovah's Witness, they don't care about money, and Prince was just, being eccentric and he was maintaining control. Nah, man, you cared about that money when you were alive. If Prince was alive right now and you said, hey, Prince, write me a check for $45 million, he would probably tell you to fuck yourself. He would put you out of his house. He would say, no, I'm not giving you my money. So the question becomes, why in the world do we think that it makes sense that this man is giving away tens of millions of dollars every year in death that could have been easily prevented by a will that would have cost him $10 to put together on Rocket Lawyer? This man, and I'm telling you guys, seriously, if you want to really put action behind this, if you really want to make a move on this, here's basic, simple shit. Go open up an account at a site like Rocket Lawyer and get in there, and they will ask you, would you like to put together a will? And they will literally ask you a series of questions that you can answer. Well, who do you want to get all your money? What are your internet passwords? Who's your first beneficiary? Who's your second beneficiary? And you can have a will done tonight. It ain't that hard. And I'm just befuddled that this man, he made 1,000 songs or something. Like, in the middle of making all those songs, I'm just dying. I would just love to understand why there wasn't a 30-second discussion where he said to some business manager, oh, by the way, I don't think I have a will. Go put one together and let me look at it and I'll sign it. Like, I just don't. And I think that if he doesn't care about himself, that's his right financially, because he's dead. When you're dead, nothing matters, I guess. If he didn't care about his own family, then that's his right. But I know he cared about his community. And I'm going to tell you like this, I know a whole lot of community centers all across the world that could have benefited tremendously from $45 million that's now in the hands of white folks. I know I went to the hood today. I went to Inglewood in Chicago today. And I know that there's a whole lot of people in there that could have used that $45 million as their reparations. I know there's a lot of black people in the struggle, millions of black people struggling, who could have used some of that money. I know that 45 million. I know if you would give me 10% of that 45 million in the black business school, I could take that and open up economic training centers all throughout the country with that money. I could open up 10 schools and educate 100, 10, 20, 30,000 black children over the next 50, 70, 80 years with just a fraction of that money. But instead, that money is going to be spent on some white man's Jag. It's going to be spent sending his daughter to Princeton. It's going to be spent so that him and his family can go on vacations to Bali and shit. And your people still sitting around struggling because somebody in Prince's camp didn't slap him upside his head and say, hey, man, what are you doing? You need to have a death plan because you know that they're scheming to get your money. You know they might kill you. You're a dangerous black man because you're not just a celebrity who's making lots of money, who's worth a lot of money, but you're also a man who's out here preaching to black folks about being more empowered. You're actually doing things that celebrities don't do. You actually act like a black celebrity who cares about black people. My God, why would you act like you care about black people? Who cares about them? But you're doing it. So that makes you very dangerous. You do understand that, right? You did a concert for Ferguson, and you're supporting these really controversial issues that make you a threat to national security. So they're probably going to try to come kill you. They might do it in any way that you don't expect at a time you don't expect. So you need to have something in place to protect that as much as possible. I would expect, again, if there's a conspiracy like, oh, well, Prince had a will and they're really lying about it. Okay, fine. But I would expect 20 people to come out and say, no, Prince told me specifically that he had a will. Prince talked to me about it, and he told me that if they ever come kill me, make sure that this document gets to the public. Make sure that the public knows X, Y, Z. Even Nipsey Hussle said, remember Nipsey Hussle died when he said he did the documentary on Dr. Sebi, and he said, if they come kill me, y'all better ride. You remember that? Remember that? Now, again, I'm going to say, just to be honest with you, I don't really know why someone would kill Nipsey Hussle over a Dr. Sebi documentary, because there's a lot of information out there on Dr. Sebi already. There's been a ton of documentaries done on him already, and they didn't kill all those people who made that. So I think that's a little bit of a stretch to say, oh, he's going to make this documentary, he's going to die. I don't think they really cared so much about black people knowing the truth. Like, black people know crazy amounts of truth about what white folks have done. Many of us know. Anybody know yes or no, yes or no, yes or no? Give me a yes or no. Did anybody see the story about how Dr. King was actually killed? Because that just got out to the public just in the last few years. Did anybody know that? The details of how Dr. King got murdered, how J. Edgar Hoover spent a year. Yes or no? Does anybody know about this? J. Edgar Hoover spent an entire year planning in detail how he was going to kill him and make it look like it was one lone crazy white man when it was actually a very carefully organized government conspiracy to make sure that he was dead. And the details of that conspiracy are amazing. I mean, they're literally saying that Dr. King was alive when he went to the hospital and that they killed him in the hospital because they said if he don't die from the bullet, we're going to make sure he died from the doctors. This is a white man who wrote a long book about this. Very good detail. He's spoken on this. He's speaking on it more freely now because he's like, it's 50 years later, so I'm not a threat to them anymore. And you know what? Another reason why he's not a threat to them? Because they know black people ain't going to do shit. They know that black people are so wired, we are so trained to sit and feel sorry for ourselves and say, oh, well, they done did it again. The white men, the wascally wabbits, the white men done tricked us again and they done took our money. They done took care. That's why they don't care. They don't care. They don't really feel the need to hide from you. You're like the woman that's married to the man who gives such little fuck about you and has such little respect for you that he'll bring his girlfriend to the house and have her spend the night, and she'll be in the kitchen baking cookies and making breakfast the next morning, and you'll be like, who is this woman? He'll be like, oh, that's my side chick, and he don't care what you think because he knows you ain't gonna do nothing about it. So for us, that's what we are. We don't get respect like that. Ain't nobody feeling like, oh, well, if we let the black community know that we've conspired against them, they're going to organize and uprise, and they're going to come and they're going to make us pay. They're going to stop spending their money in our businesses. No, you're not. They're going to organize and they're going to come fight the power. They're going to tear down the Capitol. No, you're not. They're going to all get together and they're going to back a political candidate that's going to come in and take over the White House and push their agenda forward and get them reparations. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to go into pity party mode and feel sorry for yourself because that's what you're trained to do. You're not trained. Black people are not trained as a collective to focus on solutions. We are trained as a collective to sit around and whine and complain. Like the biggest videos I saw being watched on after the Nipsey Hussle death, honestly, were like, well, here's a conspiracy. Let me tell you what the white people did. And then they set up this, and then they came out and said that, and then they did this, and this don't look right. And all it becomes is YouTube entertainment, where 100,000 people watch a video, and then it goes away, and then they keep going back to business as usual. That's why even before, like, people have been knowing the LAPD has been running games on black people since before OJ. 25 years ago when OJ got convicted, he was convicted but not convicted, right? Wink, wink, right? They let him go, but they didn't let him go. Wink, wink, right? So when OJ got convicted, because that's what it was, he was a conviction. It wasn't. It was not an acquittal, because white people don't really acquit you. If they think you're guilty, they're going to come get you. So OJ was convicted. When OJ was convicted, they had all this proof of these horrible things the LAPD did, these scams and cover-ups and everything else. And it's fascinating to me that literally 20-something years later, the LAPD still has such little respect for you that they continue to do the exact same things they did 30, 40 years ago. Nothing changes because we don't change. So, I'll say at the end of the day, the thing about, I think, the conspiracy theory that white people are out to get us, I think that's been proven to you for the last 400 years on a consistent and regular basis. So moving forward under the assumption that if you get power, they're going to try to take it. If you get money, they're going to try to take it. If you have a movement, they're going to try to undermine it and discredit it. Operating under that assumption, the next goal for you is to say, okay, well, how do we make sure that we protect ourselves because we know that the enemies are coming? One way that you cannot do that is to do what Prince did and accumulate $200 million that could be used to do unbelievable things in the black community, and then give, 60, eventually he's going to give away about 80 to $100 million of that right back to the very same people he was fighting against his whole entire life. I think I get offended because I know how much can be done with that money. I know that if they were going to go, if they went to think about this, HBCUs can't even pay the bills, man. You got HBCUs. Can you imagine if that $50 million was going to fund our HBCUs? Do you know how many tens of thousands of black students we could get through college with that money? When we're doing things with the Black Business School, it's like I would sit there and I'd be like, man, if I had $10 million, I could do more with $10 million than most people could do with $500 million, because I'm smart enough to know exactly strategically where to put the money, where it would really work. I mean, do you know how many great things can be done in our community with that money? And you just gave it all away because you think it's just, I don't know, cool or trendy to not leave a will, or you think you're never going to die, or I don't know. I'm not dissing Prince. This is not me attacking Prince. This is me attacking all of us. Like, what is wrong with us? What is going through our heads that makes us think we ain't going to die? Tell me yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. If you go to your relatives, your black relatives, and you start talking about death and death planning and estate planning or life insurance, tell me yes or no. Do you think that will be an easy conversation or a hard conversation? Do you think that will be a welcome discussion? Right, I'm talking about right now or tomorrow morning. If you called up Big Mama and Uncle Joe or your parents and started saying, well, we need to make a plan for your transition. We need to go ahead and put some stuff in place to make sure that if something happens to you, you're going to be good. Would that be an easy conversation or hard conversation? Answer it. You can say yes or no. You can say easy or hard. Easy or hard. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of hards coming up. It would be hard. It would be a hard conversation in a lot of black families, because we have people in our families that think somehow I think that they believe that by talking about death, it makes them think death is more likely to happen. And the data says that when you're black, death is definitely more likely to happen. I know 40-year-old black men who are dying of heart attacks from eating too much fried chicken. Like, seriously. Like, I mean, so it's gonna happen. So why would you not prepare for something that you know is going to happen? It's like if somebody is going to come to your house and try to kill you, and somebody says, well, you better get a gun or something to defend yourself or call the police or something because they're coming to kill you. And you say, no, I'm just going to sit here and feel sorry for myself, or just sit here and imagine that they're not coming. I'm going to pretend like they're not coming. right? And then they come to your house and they kill you, and then you want to pray to white Jesus. Like, why is God not blessing me? Why is God not prayed to God to protect me? And it's all part of God's plan. No, that shit wasn't part of God's plan. That shit was part of your plan. If you made a different plan, then you would have had a different outcome. If you know that they're coming to kill you and you choose not to defend yourself and you say, well, I died because it's God's plan, then I'm sorry, that makes you sound like a fool. That makes you sound like you are way too passive to exist in this world and to compete in this world. In this world, we live in a competitive world. The reason I love to read books like Powernomics is because I like Claude Anderson's style. He's a military man. He served his country, and he understands that in a competitive situation, you got to be ready to fight. You have to be strategic. You have to be on top of your game. You can't sit around feeling sorry for yourself and being passive and hoping for the best. That doesn't make any sense. Do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Please hit the thumbs up button. Also, if you'd like to support intelligent black media throughout the universe, please go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. Many of you are patrons, and I want to say thank you to those of you who are supporting the platform. Our goal is to use digital media to spread black intelligence all throughout the world. So if that's what you believe in and that's what you do, we'd love for you to be active in some level. Either if you can't support, that's fine, but at least share and like and thumbs up and do something, because we could really use your help. I can't do this by myself. Also, if you want to advertise on the platform, if you have businesses and you want to advertise your business, we reach a lot of people, and they understand community. They understand the importance of supporting the things they believe in. You can't have a raggedy business now. Now, if your business is raggedy, there's nothing I can do. But if you have a solid business and you just need support and traffic and things like that, we offer very reasonable costs to sponsor one of the podcasts. So feel free to go to drboyceadvertising.com. That's drboyceadvertising.com. And last but not least, as you get ready for the summer, I've mentioned to you guys that our children, and one way that we can flip the game and defeat white supremacy and get ahead as a team is to make sure our children, by the year 2070, that black children in America are the most financially literate, most financially intelligent people on the planet. So that starts with this generation, because what you teach your kids is what they're going to teach their kids, and what they teach their kids is what they're going to teach their kids. So I'm really thinking about the grandkids, but you start with your kids. And so this summer, you can, we've got tools that you can use. If you go to financialworkbooks.com, you can see our workbooks for black children. You can feel free to check those out. Or financialflashcards.com. We have financial flashcards for black children as well that you can take a look at and have your kids learn some of these concepts through the summer, and we can help you, talk you through the process. Okay, so let me quickly go through one little thing I wanted to cover really quickly before I let you guys go. I'm reading on this site called tomorrow.me. And what they do is they list 5 reasons why people don't complete their will. Number one, they believe that they personally don't need a will. Quote, I don't have any assets, I'm single, so why do I need a will? I'm married and have a kid, but everything will just go to my spouse when I die, so it's not a big deal. There are a lot of people that think that having a will isn't a necessity, and they're wrong. A will allows you to do many things, but one of the most important is the ability to set in place wishes and instructions to ease the burden on others after your passing. Has anybody ever seen when somebody dies and all hell breaks loose because nobody really knows what that person wanted, but everybody thinks that they do? So people are fighting and going back and forth. And don't let the person die broke, where there's not even enough money to pay for the funeral. Then at that point, everybody's fighting over who's going to pay for what. It's very, very sad to watch. I knew a young lady who was traumatized because her mother was dying of cancer. And while her mother was dying of cancer, they were arguing so much about, assets and everything else that her father stopped speaking to her. So she literally lost her mother and her father at the same time. And I believe that wouldn't have occurred if things had been organized a little bit better. But I'm not making fun of that. I'm not attacking that. I'm just saying that that's what I observed. So you can use a will in conjunction with life insurance and a trust to make sure your family doesn't bear the financial burden of your passing, and to make sure your burial and funeral are handled according to your wishes. 2, they don't want to talk about intimate details with somebody. So a lot of times we act like, we don't want to talk about death because we don't want to talk about our personal stuff. And, again, I went to a funeral not too long ago, and it's like a lot of funerals. Tell me if you've ever seen a funeral like this, where you get there and long lost kids are showing up that nobody knew about. They got all these secret babies people had or whatever, or just weird things kind of come out at the funeral. And the thing is, most of the time, most secrets eventually come to light. And so I think that having a death plan helps you more to kind of protect that, in the sense that, when you die, people will go through your shit. Like when you die, if you got stuff in a box that you don't want nobody to see, people will go through that box because you're dead, right? When you die, like people will go through your computer, they will go through your whatever, they're gonna go through all your business. So if you set up your death plan properly, you can make sure you align it where only the people that you want to see these things are going to have access to those things. Said the third reason that people don't make a death plan or don't get a will is that they don't feel ready. He says, let's face it, no one wants to think about death when they're perfectly healthy. Many people feel that setting in motion the process of writing a will means that death isn't far off, but this couldn't be further from the truth. A will is not an end at all. It's not an end-all be-all statement that you'll never be able to change down the road. Conversely, it is a living document that can shift as your life shifts, often over a period of many years or decades. So, the way I started thinking about my will is that I thought about my will as like, that's my chance to really make boss moves. Why? Well, because in my will, number one, I have a decent amount of life insurance. So I was like, okay, if I die, I can make sure that the people I love are going to be doing really well financially because I'm gone. Number two, I'm able to really do things like in a trust. I want to have certain assets invested in a trust where that money's just going to sit there for 20, 30, 40 years because I know how much money will grow if you leave it alone. That's the key thing. People want to make money fast. Big money ain't made fast typically. Big money's made slow. So don't listen to people that think that the best way for a black person to get rich is to get a record deal or a basketball contract. That's all a BS fantasy that's fed to us that makes us distracted from where the real money's actually made. The real money's made when you let your money, your wealth grow, or you do something consistently over a 30, 40-year period. So I'm like, well, when I die, I'm going to be really patient because I'll be dead. So I can put something in place that says, these assets are going to grow for 30 years. Don't touch it for 30 years. And so that means that if I have, let's say it starts off as 80,000 or whatever, I know in 30 years it's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? If I buy a bunch of stocks with it or whatever. So to me, it's kind of fun to really think about the structure I can put in place once I'm gone because I can really build my empire. My empire, it does exist now. I do have an empire now. I'm very proud of that. I'm a very proud black man in that way. And I own that. I'm very proud to say I'm a proud black man. We need lots of proud black men in our community. But the thing is, my vision of my empire is tiny compared to what I know my empire can be 2 generations down the line if I make the right plan. If I put the right procedure in place, I know that I can have something that's worth billions of dollars. Right. So use that as an opportunity to do that. Like don't think that it means you're going to die. Moving on. 4, they haven't considered the consequences of not writing a will. He says it's easy to go through life focusing on the here and now, which is also an important part of living happily and fully. Still, this overlooks just how important it is to have a will in place before death occurs. The consequences of not having a will can be quite high, especially if you have a large or complex family situation. When a person dies without a will, their estate will effectively fall into the hands of the probate court, which will dole the money out as it sees fit. So basically, like they say, somebody being in the system, they talk about prison like that, where you're in the system and the system controls your life. Well, Prince's estate is in prison. Prince's estate is in the system. And so the same way the regular prison system works, where they're making millions of dollars off of young black men and women, and older black men and women, or the NCAA makes billions of dollars off of young black athletes. Well, now there are people that are going to make millions of dollars off of Prince's estate. And that $45 million they made this year, they invest that money and they let it grow over the next couple of decades. That 40, 50 million is going to grow into $500 million or more, right? So they built $1 billion fortune for their grandchildren off of a black man. And this is coming from a community that claims it has no wealth. You claim you have no wealth, but yet you're giving away $40, $50 million to white people. You claim you have no wealth, but yet when Disney puts out a Black Panther movie, you're giving $700 million away to Disney. I'm not saying it's wrong to go see the Black Panther. That's fine. But I don't understand why you give more money to Disney than you give to your own. I don't understand why Disney can go raise $700 million for a movie, but if a righteous black man or black woman or group of black people said, we want to raise $700 million for for our own school system, black folks got something else to do. We wouldn't have time for that. We wouldn't have an interest for that, right? And so I just personally think that it's what I refer to. Actually, the term I created for this is what I call economic immaturity. Economic immaturity is where you spend the money on the things you want, but you don't want to spend money on the things you need. It's like a child. A child will gladly spend money on shoes or toys or candy or nonsense. But you ask that child, okay, I want you to also put money in your college fund. The child's gonna be like, why would I want to do that, right? Or I want you to help put money in on this light bill. They don't want to do that, right? So kids are thinking, well, money is fun. I want to spend my money on things that make me feel good, not on things that are going to make sure that I am good, right? So that's why you have parents that will go out to the club, drop $200 or buy a new outfit, spend a lot of money, or get a new car where the average car note is $513 a month. And then when you say to them, your child, to compete with the Indians and the Asians and all these other kids that are going to colleges and getting the high ACT scores, you should probably spend $200 a month putting your child in a special program so they can be really prepared academically. They'll say, well, that's too much. That y'all scamming people. Why are you charging that much money? And it's like, but you didn't say that it was a scam when somebody charged you that same amount of money for a night at the club. You didn't say it was a scam when you went out and bought a new car and you're dropping hundreds of dollars a month on a new car. You didn't say it was a scam when you spent hundreds of dollars on new outfits or whatever, right? So it doesn't make any sense, right? So so I think that we have to kind of fix that and address that, because what happens is that again, I'm a financial scientist. I study. All I did was for years, like, to get my certification, which is a PhD, to teach college students. I had to do nothing but sit around and think about economics all the time, every day, 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, including Christmas, all year round, nonstop. And one of the things I observed is I said, oh my God, there are so many levers you can pull in the wealth game that we're not aware of, that we don't understand. And there are so many areas where we literally could flip black wealth and by $2-3 trillion in a generation just by shifting very basic habits, right? And so that's what I do. When I'm talking online, I'm kind of saying, okay, to those who get it, is I'm saying, look, I can't change the whole black community, but I can encourage you to influence the black community that's in your house. And by influencing the black community that's in your house and doing very basic things, you won't have these so-called Negro problems. Like, they're lying to you when they're telling you that every black person has to go through the same horrible experience, and no matter how smart you are, no matter how prepared you are, no matter how hard you work, no matter how well you plan, if white supremacy is coming to get you, the boogeyman, the white man gonna take it down no matter what. It don't matter. Trayvon Martin was walking with a bag of Skittles and he got killed. Yeah, that's true. Anything can happen to anybody. But when people are telling you that there's nothing you can do to protect yourself, they're not empowering you. They are disempowering you. They are putting you in a position of complete total vulnerability, because they're basically saying, why would you listen to a guy like Boyce who tells you that there are things you can do to build for yourself? Why would you listen to a guy like Boyce who tells you that there are ways you can defend yourself? Why would you listen to someone like that? Because the white man gonna come get you no matter what, and so you might as well not even try. So you're like, well, shit. I mean, you're right, man. Why should I listen to a guy like Boyce up here he feeding black people false hope, telling us we can do things for ourselves and we can build for ourselves, and that don't make no damn sense. So why should I even leave a will? I mean, white people gonna take my money anyway, so I might as well not leave a will. So then you don't leave a will, and then white people take your shit, and then you are right. You're like, yes, I knew I was right. I knew that Boyce was wrong all the time, because look what happened. White people still got my shit. That, my friends, is what they call a self-fulfilling prophecy. Somebody type that in, write that down, say it right now, repeat after me. Self-fulfilling prophecy. A self-fulfilling prophecy is when someone bullies you and intimidates you. And one example of a self-fulfilling prophecy is when the bully of white supremacy intimidates you so much that they don't have to oppress you, because you will oppress yourself. The easiest way to control the black community is to take away every ounce of hope, confidence, and possibility that exists in that community. If you take away all their belief in themselves, if you convince them completely that they should just disarm because they can't do shit about it, that they're going to get oppressed no matter what, if you convince black folks that no matter what we do, the outcome will remain the same, then your job is complete. Why do you think, I mean, the U.S. has been to war quite often, right? But there are far more wars that they have avoided than there are wars that they've actually entered. Why do you think they're able to avoid war with a lot of countries? Well, when the United States gets mad at you, they don't just go and drop a bomb on you. That takes time. It's expensive. People die. It's hard work. The public gets mad. Oh, they don't drop a bomb on you just because they're mad. They're not going to go do that instantly. What do? They start doing military exercises on your borders to let you see how massive and how powerful their Navy fleet is. They issue warnings and they tell you, if you continue to keep talking shit, we're gonna come get you, right? They put out statements and public what do you call it, condemnations. They condemn. We patently condemn the actions of North Korea or whatever, right? They warn you. That's the equivalent. That's like what animals do when they growl at you. Like when you guys saw me when I ran into that geese, that gangster geese, that one time when I was on the run. Anybody remember that? I was running on the path and I saw this goose, and the goose was guarding his woman because his woman was sitting on some eggs, and the goose was like, you can't come down here because my woman is about to give birth to my baby. So I need y'all to go in a different direction, right? So the goose he didn't just jump up and attack me, right? He stared at me. He kept looking at me like real angry like. And then he stuck his tongue out. He kept sticking his tongue out. I was like, why does this goose keep sticking his tongue out? Like, this is so weird. And then I took another step and his wings kind of popped up. Like, what you want some of this, right? You want some of this goose, right? And then I took another. I'm like, this is a goose. This goose can't do nothing. I take another step, and then his neck got really long to the point where he was like 3 feet tall, and then he was as tall as me. It was weird. Like, he was ready to like fuck me up. And you know what I did? I was like, you know what? I don't want none of this. I really don't want to be fighting a goose because I don't know. I failed biology class, so I'm not aware of exactly what kind of damage a goose can do to you. So I'm not going to, like, I'm a person that grew up thinking, like, for example, that a hippo or a boar can't hurt you. And so I was surprised when they were telling me hippos can run 70 miles an hour. I'm like, but hippos are fat. Fat animals shouldn't be able to run that fast. So that just lets me know, like, I had a lot to learn. So I was sitting there thinking, maybe there are things geese can do to people that I'm not aware of. So maybe I need to get to stepping, right? So basically, by him letting me know that he was ready to throw down, that he was ready to ride or die for his woman, that gave me the opportunity to back away from the conversation and not escalate things further. So the white man does the same thing with you in the sense that he doesn't really necessarily want to have to come kill you. He doesn't want to have to send Klansmen to your house to come out and lynch you like he did a long time ago. He doesn't want to actually have to come in and really have to do the dirty work to oppress you. So what they'll do a lot of times is they say, well, wait, we don't actually have to oppress black people if we just simply, because we went through the 60s and we had fire hoses and guns and we beat them half to death. And it only made things worse. It made things hard for everybody. So instead of actually trying to really oppress black people, we need to find a way to get them to oppress themselves. So the way they get you to oppress yourself is they pretty much created a community where they stripped you of all hope and possibility. They took away your confidence. They put the drugs and the guns in your neighborhood so you would kill each other. And they did a bunch of things that basically got to the point where they didn't even have to have a conflict with you because you just wasn't ready for that life anyway. You realize, like, wait a minute, we can't even take white folks on, so why should we even try? So when a person like me comes along and says, hey, I think we can actually fight these. I think we can, not so much military style. I'm not advocating for a revolution, nothing like that. But when I say, look, we can compete with anybody in the world educationally. We just got to try. We can compete with anybody in the world economically. We just have to try, right? When I put out that message, I've got to deal with millions of black people who have been beaten down psychologically to the point where they think that I'm the one who's delusional. When I know enough about finance to know that there are a lot of tricks that you can play in this game that will help you win, but you won't even listen to me long enough where we can even have that conversation because you've already been convinced by so many other people that you can't do better than where you are right now. Like, there are literally people that will tell you, they go pay attention. The white liberals are the ones that drive me the craziest. The white liberals will literally tell you that if you're born poor and you're black, you can't, that there's really pretty much nothing you can do to not be poor anymore. They wrote a whole article saying that, people that are teaching financial literacy to poor people, just stop it because it doesn't work. They literally were just saying, like, they don't even need this information because you're giving them false hope. Like, the idea of telling black people that you can improve your condition by making certain decisions, that you're hurting them, because what we need is we need them to be completely hopeless, so they will submit to their hopeless situation and stay in the shit bucket that they're in. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. And it's very sad that so many black people are in alignment with this ideology. I'm not trying to say that you don't have obstacles. I'm not trying to say that being black is easy. I'm not trying to say that you don't have some problems to solve. But I know one simple fact. I know this. A lot of things come down to basic mathematics. I'm a mathematician. My master's degree is in mathematics. So I learned that 2 plus 2 is 4. Right? Another thing that I know is that 5 plus 10 is 15. How do I know that? Why do I say that? Well, because when I look at white people, that's what I see, right? I see white people, they start off with 5, and then they add 10, right? Because they get an inheritance or whatever, they get assets. And so they end up with 15 by the time they die, right? Not every white person, but a lot of them do, right? A wealthy white person. Start with 5, add 10, you got 15. Black people, we don't start off with 5. Maybe we start off with -4, right? You follow me? Follow me. Tell me yes or no. Yes or no. Tell me if I probably sound crazy, but tell me, just bear with me here. So let's say we start off with -4. I know this. I know that -4 plus 20 is what? What is -4 plus 20? -4 plus 20 is 16, right? So 5 plus 10 is 15. -4 plus 20 is 16. I also know this. This is what a master's in mathematics will give you. I also know that 16 is greater than 15. Are we in agreement here? Right? So we know that for white folks, 5 plus 10 is 15. For black folks, -4 plus 20 is 16. And we know that 16 is greater than 15. So what is the point here? What is the point? The point is that you can catch up with anybody if you put extra effort into your plan. It means, okay, a rich white kid might have to add 10 points worth of labor or 10 points worth of effort, 10 points worth of planning, 10 points worth of strategy in order to get from 5 to 15. A black person is starting off with -4, so we might have to do 20. We might have to do twice as much to just catch up or to get half as much or whatever. We might have to do that. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Sure, you could spend your life feeling sorry for yourself because you got to do twice as much to get half as much. But tell me yes or no. Did you have a grandmother who told you that shit since you were little? Did you have a grandparent, one of the old folks who grew up before integration? Before the false bullshit of inclusion that told you, like, straight up, well, boy, you're going to have to do twice as much to get half as much. Tell me yes or no. Did you have a grandparent who told you this? These were old school values that we understood as a community, that we got from our grandparents, that were taken away from us when we were sucked in by the illusion of integration, the illusion of inclusion. They made you weak. They made you lazy. They made you feel sorry for yourself because they made you get so focused on the fact that even though we know -4 plus 20 is 16, they got you focused on the fact that it ain't fair that you got to do 20 and the white boy got to do 10. Well, guess what? I'm not the person who's going to help you feel sorry for yourself. I'm going to say, big fucking deal. Whoop-de-goddamn do. Go cry me a fucking river. Life ain't fair. Did y'all know that? Life is not fair. I ain't trying to say that it's right. I'm not trying to say white people are good. I'm not trying to say none of that. This is not a conservative or a liberal message. This is a message about winning. This is a message about success. It ain't fair if you're in a basketball game and your teammate is a dumbass like JR What's-His-Face who played for the Cavs and thought that they were up by one and they were actually tied and he dribbles the ball out of bounds. Like it ain't fair to LeBron that he had to play with four dudes that damn near couldn't dribble, right? It wasn't fair, but you got to work with what you got. You got to take what you got and you got to decide what you want, and then you got to make a plan to go get it. And if you're behind, the further you are behind, the harder you have to work to catch up. That's all that matters to a winner. So the reality, the reason that I know I'm never going to be a household name, and I don't want to be a household name, I don't care about that, is because I'm really talking to people that want to be winners. You ain't even got to be a winner. You just got to want to be a winner. And I can just tell you that being a winner requires letting go of any temptation whatsoever to sit around and feel sorry for yourself. Because that is not going to help you win the game. So again, basic mathematics. 5 plus 10 for the white boy is 15. -4 plus 20 for the black man or black woman is 16. Every black person in this live stream right now, every black person listening to me right this second, if they teach their children, if you teach your children, if you and your family have a strategic, long-term strategic 30-year plan for wealth building, every single one of you will have an average wealth level that will exceed the average white American in this country. Why is that? Well, because most Americans are not financially literate. Most Americans are sucked into consumerism. This is your opportunity. This is the benefit you have from listening to me, a financial scientist, tell you how the game is played, how things work, what the scenario is looking like. Most people in this country are not financially intelligent. So what these people are going to do is if you are financially sophisticated, they will give you numerous opportunities to extract wealth from them. It might come from buying their real estate while it's cheap or while they're in financial distress. Warren Buffett does it all the time. When your business is struggling and you got a company that's got some value, he shows up and says, "Oh, I heard you need some capital. I can be a great partner for you," right? So that might be a way that he's extracting wealth from you. It might be from buying stocks and bonds in this generation when most Americans don't participate in the stock market. It might be from starting businesses in your own communities that allow you to take advantage of all the opportunities and all the amazing amounts of black spending that occur because black folks are spending money with white businesses because they don't have black businesses to serve those needs. Everybody wants to be an employee. There ain't nobody trying to be a business owner. Everybody needs to be a business owner. Every black family should have a business. In fact, I'm going to look up a stat for you guys. I know I said I wasn't going to talk this long. Every time I start talking, I plan to talk for a few minutes, but I can't help it. I got to keep going. Let me see here. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that. Please hit the thumbs up button. Average wealth in America. According to the Wall Street Journal, the average net worth per person in America was $182,000 back in 2010. Okay, is that right? Let me look up median. The median is a better statistic. Hit the thumbs up button while I do this. Please hit the thumbs up button. The median net worth in American households in the U.S. is $97,300. Okay. So $97,300 is a lot. For black people, I don't know what the number is. It's pretty low, right? Pretty freaking low. But here's the thing. Tell me yes or no. Yes or no. Do you or do you not know at least one black person who has assets that exceed $93,000 or whatever that number was? Yes or no? Do you know at least one black person who has assets that exceed $93,000? In their 401k, maybe they own their house, maybe they just like to save, maybe they bought some stocks, right? Maybe they got an inheritance, maybe not, right? And then I want to ask you another question. Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you know at least one black person who has wealth that exceeds $93,000 who started off poor? Who started off poor? I know a lot of black people who started off extremely dirt poor who have over $93,000 or $100,000 in assets. Let me tell you how this happens. Let me give you an example. I'm gonna give you a friend, and everybody in this room can replicate this very basic plan. In fact, the plan was so simple that she didn't even really make a plan. She just did shit that made sense. She just executed this. Call this the common sense plan. So this young lady was so poor growing up that she said we were so poor that my family we didn't even have a refrigerator. I kid you not. She said they didn't have a refrigerator. They had to in the wintertime. For several months, they had to keep their food on the front porch because that's the only way it could stay cold. So here's the thing. So her single mom was making, crumbs, chump change. They eventually got a refrigerator because her grandmother, her father's mother, her father wasn't living with them. Her father had moved away. Her father's mother came to the house, saw they didn't have a refrigerator, so she went out and bought them a fridge. So they finally got a fridge by springtime. Her mother, who was a substitute teacher, wasn't making nothing. Substitute teachers don't make much. One thing that she did was she kept her child in the library. Her children were always in the library. So from a very early age, she said, we never got caught up in materialism because my mother would always tell us that all the material stuff doesn't matter. Also, we knew education was important. So when a lot of my friends were just acting a fool and getting into stupid stuff, I was always reading a book. Like her mother had a college degree, but she wasn't, a scientist or a professor or anything. She was just a person who went to college. So she goes to college, right? And she gets a degree. I forgot what the field was in, but it wasn't a high-paying field. But she eventually goes on, and because education was important, she gets a lot of education. I think a master's or something or some advanced degree. Then she gets a job, and now, mind you, she has some student loan debt, like a lot of people do. She also, when she got the job, she wasn't making that much money. But on her job, they offered her the chance to participate in the 401k plan. Now, here's where ignorance is bliss. The time where she was asked to participate in the 401k plan and buy stocks and bonds and all that was exactly when the market had crashed. The market had hit like its lowest level in years that year. So a lot of people were running away from the stock market. She was doing the smart thing without knowing she was doing the smart thing. She ran to the stock market. So she was investing money at the time where the market was like in complete chaos. And the reason that she invested as much as she did was because she remembered her dad just telling her, if your company ever offers you a 401k plan and they're matching your funds, max it out. Put the maximum amount of money in your 401k plan. Whatever the max is, put in there. The rest, just learn to live off whatever you got left or learn to make some extra money on the side. But you must max out your 401k plan, right? Check it. So again, she has no financial literacy. She never took class in finance. She thinks talking about money is boring. She never started a business. But she's maxing out her 401k plan. Then, her dad also tells her, you should buy a house as soon as you can. Save your money to buy a house. You should own a house. Everybody should own a house. So she goes and she saves her money because her dad told her, and she buys a house. So now she's doing 2 out of the 3 things that rich people do. Even though she wasn't a rich person, she was the first step to being a rich person is to do what rich people do. If you do what poor people do, you're gonna be poor, right? If you do what rich people do, you're gonna be rich. You just might not be rich now, but you're eventually gonna be rich. It's like if I'm driving west to California, eventually I will be in California. I just might be in New York right now or Philly right now, but if I'm going west and I keep driving, eventually I'm gonna be a Californian, right? So if you do what rich people do, you will get rich. If you do what poor people do, you're gonna be poor. It's as simple as that. So she was doing what rich people do. She was invested in the stock market. She owned a house, or she didn't own the house. The bank owned the house, but she was making the payments on the house. Check this out. So years later, I had a conversation with her and I said, did you realize that you're a millionaire? And she said, I'm not a millionaire, Boyce. What are you talking about? And I said, yeah, you're a millionaire. I said, how much is your house worth? She said, well, we bought it for, $200,000. Now it's worth about $400,000. I said, okay, yeah, and your house is pretty much paid off. That's $400,000 in assets you have. I said, how much student loan debt do you have? She said, oh, about $10,000 left or something like that, because she had been paying down her debt, but she wasn't done. And I said, okay. I said, so how much do you have in your 401k? She said, it's pretty good. It's about $700,000, right? Because she was maxing it out. She was putting the maximum amount in there, and she did that over a decade. And the stock market has been like an ATM machine. Anybody invest in stocks? Yes or no? If you invest in, yes or no, tell me, do you invest in the stock market? Tell me if you know how crazy the market has been over the last 20 years. The stock market has been raining money, like literally. I'm not kidding. So anyway, so I said, yeah, you're a millionaire. And she said, Boyce, what are you talking about? I'm not a millionaire. I don't know anything about finances. I don't own a business. I'm not making a lot of money. I said, no, your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. I said, you own 700,000 in stocks. Your house is worth 400,000. That's 1.1 million. You have 10,000 in student loan debt. So you have over $1 million in assets. You're a millionaire. And that blew her mind because she's never taken a class on finances or money. She's never started a business. She didn't have a big inheritance. She wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth, but she's a millionaire. And I said, when you became, actually, I explained it to her. I said, you became what author David Bach refers to as the automatic millionaire. The automatic millionaire is all these hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all throughout America who just do basic shit. They don't get caught up in the nonsense. They're not into like buying trendy stuff and spending all kinds of money on new cars and fancy clothes and all this other stuff. And they don't go in debt for nonsense. They avoid debt whenever they can. And they also do little things like max out their 401k. They will own a home, whatever. And next thing you know, they're millionaires by the time they're done. So what I'm trying to say to you is that the path is pretty clear. So going back to what I was saying, the big wealth game, the big game where we're competing against other groups, right? We're competing against white folks don't love you. I'm gonna make sure I'm clear on that. Like, I don't hate them. I don't hate anybody. This is not a hate-filled platform, but this is a black love platform. Black love means I got to tell you the truth. The truth is they don't like you. They don't care about you, right? Stop trying to figure that out. Stop trying to surprise me by sending me articles proving that white people don't care about black people, because you're wasting my time. I already know this. Stop sending me articles about how unfair the public school system is, because I know this. I know that's why I would not send my children to those schools. I would homeschool them. Even if I got to homeschool them on YouTube, I would homeschool my child. Whatever it takes. Or I'd get us, whatever. I don't know but I would do something. I wouldn't have my child going to those schools. But anyway, going back, to the point in that great cosmic game where we're competing against white folks and everybody else, I want you to understand that there's the big game that involves the whole black community, and then there's the small game that involves you against the world, right? And I've shown you in a very basic framework how you can win the small game. My friend who started off so poor that they didn't even own a refrigerator now has a net worth that is 10 times higher than the median white person. My God, how can this happen? This can't happen. This isn't possible. Like, that she doesn't exist. You're making this up. No, it's happening every day. And it's being done by black people who don't fall for the bullshit. That's what it is. It's being done by black people who have basic common sense value systems and make basic plans. Now, I'm not trying to tell you that you have to be a millionaire. This whole story, this whole framework I've laid out for you would apply even if she wasn't a millionaire. Let's say her net worth was just $200,000 instead of $1 million. Well, she's still twice as high as the average white person in America. How can that happen? Racism's so terrible. It's so oppressive. We can't do anything. We can't breathe. We can't move. We can't buy anything. The white people are taking everything from us. So how in the world, in that world where white people will take money from you just because you're black, and before you even get it, or they force you to not read books, and they force you to not learn financial literacy, and my God, I got up this morning and I said, today I'm going to go read a book on investing, and there was a white man standing over my bed who said, nigga, you can't read books. I'm going to report you to the cops. I'm going to have you arrested because I caught you reading a book, you nigga, right? Like, that doesn't happen, man. So we need to realize that our number one enemy sometimes really is ourselves. I know it sounds coonish to say that. I know people make fun of people who say that. But if you don't understand that one of the greatest enemies in the world to black people is black people, then you haven't been around black people for very long. And going back to the conversation about Prince, I think Prince missed a great opportunity to do something amazing. God damn. I could have taken that $45 million and turned it into $250 million in about a decade. Do you know how many thousands of black businesses I could have funded if I were in charge of that money that Prince gave away to those lawyers and attorneys. I mean, seriously, if Prince had said, Boyce, I didn't know Prince. I don't know. I don't hang out with a lot of celebrities. But if you said, Boyce, you're an asshole, but you have a PhD in finance, and I'm going to make sure that instead of me giving my money away to white supremacy, I'm going to let you control this money, but you're going to be watched. You can't put any of this money in your pocket, but I want you to take this money, and I want you to see if you can turn this $45 million into $250 million. I would say absolutely, and I would do it, and it would take less than a decade, and it would be very easy to do. But instead, the money's been given away. So next time somebody wants to talk to you all day about how broke black people are, I need you to also point to all the times where black people had a chance to score a touchdown and we gave the ball away. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm trying to lean toward. That's my argument. I'm done. Please hit the thumbs up button. Everybody, please hit that thumbs up button before you go. If you're on Facebook, please share this video. I would really appreciate if you shared the video. Also, let me remind you guys, the All Black National Convention is taking place in Houston in September. If you want to come to a place where there are like-minded black folks who are seeking to build, who don't have time for the BS, who are trying to do something great, go to the All Black National Convention. The website, the URL is allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. You don't have to buy your tickets yet. We're going to do some sort of flash sale where we'll let everybody who wants to buy early, we'll let them buy their tickets at a discount. So don't get your tickets now, but if you want to come, go ahead and make your plans, prepare, put it on your calendar. Houston, late September. The venue's not as big, so we will sell out. So you may want to get your tickets early. Also, we're on iTunes. If you're not on iTunes, or if you want to listen to the podcast while you're going to work or whatever whatever you got going on for the day, you can go to iTunes and look for Boyce Watkins. You can find it there. If you want to buy financial flashcards for your kids or books like Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth, stuff like that, you can go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. And also, last but not least, if you want to also follow the Black Financial Channel on YouTube, where I talk about financial topics, you can go to theblackfinancialchannel.com. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. Especially those on Facebook. You really want to get off of Facebook, or at least follow us on different places, because Facebook eventually, I'm sure they're going to ban me because I'm probably going to say something black and it's going to get me in trouble and whatever. Matt's always watching. So you may want to get off Facebook and follow on another platform. So there are plenty of ways you can do that. I'll leave that up to you to decide how you want to approach that. All right, so thank you very much, guys. It was real. I had a wonderful time talking to you. I did not know that I was going to talk that long. And I want to make it 100% clear. This is not dissing Prince. I'm not hating on Prince. My God, who am I? What kind of ass would I have to be to hate on a dead man? I'm not going to do that. But I am going to, say that in order for us to really understand the gravity of this mistake and to not repeat it in our own families, we got to be honest. And the honest reality is that we missed a huge opportunity when we're giving all this money away to a bunch of people who don't care about our community. None of these lawyers and estate planners and attorneys and consultants and whoever is getting all this money, ain't none of these people showing up for black people. Right, so even the black people that are getting this money ain't showing up for black people, and so I just think that that's kind of sad. So I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Thanks very much. It was real. Have a great day. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. See you all later. Myopia. I don't. Oh, short-sighted. Yeah.